I used to believe silence meant peace. Now I know it's just forgetting with prettier words. They said it was best this way, that Claire had too much on her plate, that Emma was busy growing up. No one asked what I wanted. They just packed my sweaters and handed me the new address. So I started writing, not to demand, not to beg, just to stay visible, to keep a part of me moving somewhere. Each Friday, I folded one page, signed with a name no one said anymore, slid it into the wooden box outside my door. No address, no stamp, but always the same feeling. At least someone wrote me. I never checked if it was picked up, only made sure the lid stayed loose, not nailed shut. Some mothers stop writing. I didn't, and I never asked to be read. But something about those pages, they didn't stay closed forever. If you've ever felt erased but kept showing up anyway, you may want to hear this one through. It started with a bruise. I slipped in the bathroom, just a small fall. Enough for Claire to worry, enough for Nathan to make calls. They arrived 2 days later. Claire carried a folder with color-coded tabs. Nathan stayed behind her, tapping on his phone like he had somewhere else to be. Claire smiled, calm but certain. "Mom, this place is just temporary. A few weeks of rest. You'll be comfortable, safe." She used the word like a promise or a verdict. I nodded, because I already knew they had decided. The next morning, Nathan came by with insurance forms. Claire placed a pen beside them. "You already signed the POA last month," she said gently. "This just lets us move things faster." I remembered that conversation. She had brought it up while we were folding laundry. "It's just in case anything happens, Mom. You'd want someone to be able to speak for you, right?" I had trusted her. That was the mistake. Now it was being used like a gate pass, and I was already past the gate. That Friday, I was dressed and ready by 10 a.m. I thought someone might ride with me. They didn't. Claire packed my suitcase without asking what I wanted. She folded my favorite bathrobe and left it on the bed, then took the blue one instead. Nathan forgot my journal. He double-checked the medication list, handed it to the driver, and kissed my forehead like I was someone else's grandmother. Before I left, I found a folded note on my pillow. I opened it, expecting something like, "We'll come visit soon." Instead, it was a list. Shoes, check. Sweater, check. Toothbrush, check. No goodbye. The room they placed me in was neat. New sheets, a laminated schedule waiting on the nightstand. Initial intake complete. Family contact, Claire M. Stanton. Not daughter. Not next of kin. Family contact. I tried to reschedule an appointment the next morning, and the nurse said, "Oh, Claire already confirmed that." Confirmed! The word followed me like a locked door. I called Claire. No answer. Nathan texted, "All good. Focus on resting." I stared at the screen. 4 words, no punctuation, no voice. I looked in the mirror. Same eyes, same wedding band, same tired hands, but the woman in the glass looked like someone being handled, not held. Before, they used to ask if I liked the sweater. Now, they picked one for me. Before, they asked if I wanted to come. Now, they moved me like a package with proper labeling. Being managed felt nothing like being safe. And still, I said nothing, because I wasn't sure if I was allowed to anymore. The first weekend, no one came. I had asked the nurse twice, just to be sure. She said, "Your daughter called. She's traveling this week. Said she'll send photos." She didn't. I stared at the empty chair across from my window. I'd placed it there myself, facing out like a quiet invitation. I imagined Emma sitting there, swinging her legs, asking if mashed potatoes here tasted like mine. But the chair stayed still. No shadows. No laughter. Only the sound of a clock I hadn't set ticking just slightly off beat. On Monday, a small package arrived. Claire had sent it. The sticker said so. Inside, slippers one size too small, a travel-size lotion with a hotel's logo on the back, and a folded paper. Not a note, just a list. Cream. Check socks. Check, let us know if more is needed. No signature. No handwriting. Printed in Arial, like a shipping label. I held the lotion bottle for a long time. It smelled like someone else. Maybe Claire, maybe a stranger. That night, I opened my journal, but didn't write. I flipped through old pages instead. Last month, Claire said she might bring Emma this weekend. I hope she does. 2 weeks ago, they adjusted my dinner time again, didn't tell me. 3 days ago, no calls today, maybe tomorrow. I closed the book, and I whispered, maybe tomorrow, to the lamp. Because it stayed when no one else did. Later that night, I found a photo. Claire at 7, missing a front tooth, wearing my apron, holding a bowl of flour too big for her arms. That was the pancake night. Nathan had canceled last minute, and Claire had grinned and said, "Then it's a girls' night." She poured too much syrup, called me her favorite chef, spilled orange juice and apologized like it ruined the world. That evening, she asked if I'd teach her how to fold the towels like Grandma did. She called me Grandma's daughter. Now, I'm not sure she remembers Grandma, or how folded towels used to mean home. I taped the photo inside my journal. Underneath, I wrote, "She used to ask me to choose the toppings. Now, someone else picks my meals." The next morning, I returned to that chair by the window. Same chair, same light, but something was different. This time, I imagined Emma sitting there, just for a second. She wasn't smiling. She looked confused, as if she didn't recognize the person across from her. I looked away before the thought could finish forming. That afternoon, the facility phone rang once, then stopped. No message. No one knocked. It wasn't silence that hurt. It was realizing I was the only one keeping track of it. I thought I had let go already, but some hopes linger longer than the people who planted them. I started to notice it in the smallest of ways. The nurse didn't ask if I wanted the flu shot that week. She just handed me the appointment card and said, "Claire confirmed it." Confirmed. Such a final word for something I didn't even know was being scheduled. I didn't say anything. I just folded the card and tucked it inside my journal. At first, I wrote in that journal because I hoped someone would read it. Later, I wrote because I needed to remember I still had something to say. One night, I noticed my dinner tray arrived 30 minutes early. The usual nurse wasn't there. No explanation, no note. It wasn't dramatic, just efficient, the way you'd schedule a carpet cleaning. That same week, I received an envelope under my door. It didn't have my name, just my room number, written in blue ink. Inside was a photo. Claire and Nathan, the kids, sitting on a picnic blanket near the lake. I knew that place. We used to go every spring, pack sandwiches, complain about bugs, laugh too loud. This time, they went without telling me, without asking if I'd like to come. No one in the picture looked like they were missing someone. I flipped it over. Blank. No, wish you were here. Not even a date, just a clean white silence. That night, I opened my voicemail archive. It wasn't for any particular reason. Maybe I was looking for a voice that remembered me. I listened to old messages, reminders, pharmacy calls, a birthday song from Emma when she was 4. Then, one I hadn't heard before. Claire's voice, software measured, speaking to someone else. I think we should finalize it. She trusts too easily. She won't push back." I paused, then played it again. My hand stayed on the volume button, but I didn't move it. She wasn't angry when she said it. That was the hardest part. There was no malice, no venom, just certainty. I wasn't in the loop anymore. I was the loop they'd closed quietly, neatly, respectfully. I left the journal open on my lap. The pages fluttered with the fan. I looked back at what I had written last week. "Dinner came early today. Not sure why. Last month. They changed my medication time. Maybe I forgot. 2 months ago. Claire said this place was temporary. I want to believe her. I had written a whole novel of almosts. Almost told her I didn't want to stay. Almost asked if she remembered our spring walks. Almost said, 'I miss you.' I never did. Because I thought staying quiet would help me stay close. But silence didn't keep me close. It moved me further out of the frame. 2 days later, I received a small folded paper from the nurse's desk. She handed it to me like it was nothing. 'Your granddaughter made this at school?' She smiled. It was from Emma. Crayon-colored. A drawing of a house. A yellow sun. A girl holding hands with an older woman. Me. On the back, in shaky kid letters. Me and Grandma? Just us. I held it for a long time. Not because it was proof that I mattered, but because it reminded me of a time before I let myself fade. I hadn't been erased completely. Not yet. And maybe that was enough. That evening, I didn't write in the journal. I read it, from the beginning, page by page. Each line a version of me trying to stay gentle, stay easy, stay wanted. That's when I realized gentle had turned into invisible. And invisible wasn't what I signed up for. The next morning, I opened my drawer and found the power of attorney form Claire had asked me to sign months ago. "Just in case something happens, Mom," she'd said. At the time, it sounded wise. Thoughtful, even. I signed without reading the back page, without asking how long it would last. I didn't want to undo what she had done. I didn't want a confrontation. I just wanted to reclaim the smallest corner of my voice. I took a red pen, not to yell, not to accuse, just to write a word I hadn't said out loud in a long time. Void. Then I wrote a sentence beneath it. I still trust, but I no longer disappear. I folded it carefully, added one journal entry, the one from the day they went to the lake. I sealed it in an envelope, wrote Claire on the front, and handed it to the facility's outgoing mail desk. No return address, no explanation. Just a quiet record, a way to say, I was here, I noticed, I chose. Not to argue, just to exist. Again. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't write a complaint, or make a scene, or ask Claire why she had chosen silence over explanation. I called Mr. Goldstein. He still had my file. Still remembered the lavender tea I used to offer when he came by the house. I asked him if the power of attorney I signed could be undone. He said yes. It would take a form, a witness, a notary. Are you sure? He asked. I nodded. I'm not angry. I just want my name back. He brought the paperwork on a Tuesday afternoon. We sat on a bench beneath the sycamore tree outside the facility. He opened a folder and slid out a copy of the original form. My signature was there. Neat, confident, hopeful. I stared at it for a long time. That version of me thought saying yes was a kind of love, that going along quietly would keep me included. Now, I picked up the red pen and wrote a single word across it. Void. Not in protest, not in resentment, in clarity. He asked if I wanted to send a formal notice. Numbered just one envelope, one person. That night, I wrote a letter. Not to accuse, not to defend, just to remember. I told Claire about the pancake night, how she spilled syrup and laughed so hard she dropped the spatula. How she asked if we could wear matching aprons next time. Then I wrote, "You used to ask what I liked. Lately, you only tell me what I'll get. I don't need to be first, just not delivered with the instructions." I didn't sign Mom, just Lucille. Not because I stopped loving her, but because I needed her to see me before the roll. I folded the letter, placed it in a plain envelope. No return address, no signature outside. The next morning, I handed it to the front desk. "Claire Stanton," I said. "No urgency. Just don't lose it." 2 days later, a staff member knocked softly on my door. She handed me a new intake form. At the bottom was a new option. "Would you like to choose your own family contact?" There was a small empty box. I didn't write anything in it. I looked at it for a long moment. Maybe it was the letter. Maybe someone, somewhere, realized a voice had been missing from the form. I left the box blank, not out of anger, not out of pride, just because no one should speak for me unless they ask. I had stopped expecting the knock, but that morning, it came anyway. Not loud, not urgent, just a tap, like someone hoping I'd still be listening. It was Emma. She walked in like she used to, before people started whispering outside my room instead of coming in. She carried a paper, folded in half, like it might fall apart if handled wrong. "I found this," she said, "in Mom's drawer. It didn't have an envelope." I reached for it slowly. My handwriting, a journal page I remembered sealing weeks ago. I had left it with Claire to mail. She never mentioned it again. But she didn't throw it away either. I opened the page. The ink was slightly smudged. It said, "Today, no one called, but I am still here." Emma looked at it quietly. Then she asked, "Did you really write this?" I nodded. She sat down without asking. In the chair across from me, the one no one had used in weeks. She looked around the room, then back at the page. "Can I write something too, so it doesn't feel like just your pages?" I handed her a pen. She drew a small sun in the corner, then wrote slowly, "Today I remembered." She smiled. Not the smile of someone trying to fix something, just someone finally seeing what was there. She leaned gently against my shoulder. I didn't move. The hallway was quiet. The nurse didn't come in. The cup of water on my table had gone warm, but I didn't pour it out. For once, I didn't feel rushed to finish anything. We didn't say much. She asked if she could take the journal home with just that one page. I said yes, not because I needed the words back, but because sometimes healing doesn't come from what we keep. It comes from what we're finally able to let go. She hugged me before she left. Not long, not loud, just enough. As the door clicked shut, I looked down at the now empty chair. It didn't feel like a symbol anymore. It just felt available. I wasn't invited back, but someone small still saw me. And maybe being seen, quietly, is what healing really looks like. I don't write every week now. Emma does, just one line at a time. Sometimes she leaves them in my drawer, sometimes in the wooden box. She never signs them. I don't need her to, because now I don't write to be found. I write because I was. And if you've ever written something no one asked for, a letter, a message, a prayer no one knew they needed, you don't owe anyone your story. But maybe, just maybe, it's okay to keep the box unlocked. Just in case someone's still out there checking.